Have you ever just stopped and thought about what progress actually sounds like? I mean, the giant engines that power our cities, the massive ships crossing our oceans, the generators that keep our lights on. They all make a deafening racket. So today, we're going to dive into this hidden world of industrial engineering, the tech that tames all that noise and even cleans our air. And we'll do it by looking at one company that's a master of the craft.
You know, our modern world just runs on an incredible amount of power. We're talking power plants, marine vessels, huge industrial facilities, and the constant hum, the roar, the rumble. Well, that's kind of the invisible soundtrack to our daily lives. But this isn't just background noise. It's a seriously powerful force that has to be controlled.
So I'll ask you straight up, what does progress sound like? Is it the quiet humming efficiency we kind of picture in our heads, or is it something way, way louder? The engineering that closes that gap, well, that's exactly what we're going to explore.
And this right here just illustrates the challenge perfectly. On the one hand, you've got this incredible micro-level engineering, perfectly perforated steel, which is the basic building block for absorbing sound. And then, on the other hand, you see where it all ends up. A colossal silencer that absolutely dwarfs the person standing next to it. It's an amazing journey from this tiny, intricate detail to an industrial giant. So, who are these experts that are taming all this industrial noise? Well, for this explainer, we're zoning in on a company called Industrial and Marine Silencers, or IMS for short. They've literally built their entire business around solving these massive challenges, first in noise, and as we're about to see, in emissions too. And I just love this line from their own materials. They say, when it comes to being world-class at making things quiet, it's not in our nature to shout about it. It's such a clever pun, right? It basically says that their success is measured by the silence they leave behind.
And get this, their entire operation is handled in-house. From the engineers at their desks designing these custom solutions, all the way to the skilled teams on the factory floor, fabricating these enormous structures. They manage the whole process, a totally turnkey approach. That means from start to finish, they deliver a complete, ready-to-go solution. You can really see the story in their growth. They started out pretty small back in '91, but the demand for what they did and their growing global reputation just exploded. It forced them to expand, and then expand again, until they finally built this state-of-the-art facility, right back in the town where it all started.
Okay, so how do they actually do it? How do they tame these industrial beasts? Let's take a look at the different kinds of noise they're up against and the specific tools they've engineered to fight each one.
This chart breaks it down beautifully. You've got the intense noise from engine exhaust, the roar of air getting sucked into a giant engine, and the absolutely deafening blast from steam vents. And for each specific problem, there's a specific engineered solution.
So first up, exhaust gas silencers. Now, it's really important to get that these are not just giant car mufflers. They're way more complex. They use a combination of technologies. So reactive tech, that's kind of like noise-canceling headphones, creating sound waves to cancel out the engine's roar. And then absorptive tech uses special materials to soak up sound energy, almost like a sponge. Pretty cool. And here you can see them out in the wild. See those big cylindrical units sitting on top of the generators? Yep, those are the silencers, just doing their job, quieting down the immense power being created right inside that building. Now, an engine doesn't just produce exhaust, right? It also has to breathe. It has to suck in massive amounts of air, and that creates its own incredible roaring sound. That's where these things come in, air intake attenuators. They're designed specifically to quiet the inhale. And this is a fantastic picture of a whole system working together. What you're looking at is an acoustic canopy, which is, basically a soundproof room for a generator. Those big vents you see on top, those are the air intake attenuators, letting the machine breathe without making a huge racket. But the mission didn't stop with just making things quiet. As environmental rules got tougher and tougher, the challenge evolved. It wasn't enough to just be quiet anymore. Now, industry had to be clean, too. And this is what pushed IMS into the world of emissions control. And honestly, there is no better case study than the 2012 London Olympics. I mean, the entire world was watching. They needed a massive amount of temporary power from generators, but, and this is a huge but, they had to meet these incredibly strict emission standards. It was a massive technical hurdle. So what was the key to their success? It was this amazing piece of technology, their self-regenerating active diesel particulate filter, or DPF. Now, unlike other systems that can get clogged up, this one uses a patented electrical heating process to automatically burn off all the trapped soot. It literally cleans itself, which means it's always working at peak performance.
And the results? Get this. An 85% reduction in particulate matter. That's the nasty soot and other harmful particles coming from the generator's exhaust. That is a huge, huge impact, and it was delivered on a global stage. Don't just take my word for it. The London Organizing Committee itself said the performance was, and I quote, nothing short of world class. That's not just a product doing its job, that's a solution delivering under insane pressure, consistently and safely.
But this success wasn't just a one-off. Nope, it's actually part of a much bigger story of global impact. So let's zoom out for a second and see just how far this quiet innovation has traveled. It all starts right here, in their purpose-built facility in Shepshed, in the UK's East Midlands. This is the central hub for all their engineering, design, and manufacturing. And from that one spot, their equipment has been installed all over the planet in totally different environments. We're talking power stations in Argentina, marine projects in Australia, industrial sites in Nigeria, and facilities all across the USA and the Russian Federation. I mean, the list just goes on and on. The need for quality engineering, it turns out, is pretty universal. And their reach extends to literally the most extreme environments on Earth. Their equipment has been installed all the way down in Antarctica. When your engineering is trusted to perform in the most remote, most fragile ecosystem on the planet, you know you're doing something right. And that really brings us to the final thought here. From the bustling heart of London to the frozen ice of Antarctica, so much of what keeps our world running is this kind of invisible, unsung engineering. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How much of our modern progress depends entirely on the things we are specifically engineered not to notice.